Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Road trip movies come and go. As a matter of fact, they're almost wired into the American psyche. It's rare, however, that women are placed front and center in these films. Thelma and Louise is a 1991 movie that was directed by Ridley Scott, and it was written by Callie Corey. It has elements of multiple genres in it, and it's been described as a drama, adventure, or road movie, with elements of a romantic comedy. It stars Susan Sarandon as Louise and Geena Davis as Thelma. The supporting cast includes Harvey Keitel, Michael Marsden, Christopher McDonald, and the then unknown Brad Pitt in one of his first major film roles ever. The storyline goes that eager to shake off their men and cares, two lifelong friends from Arkansas, bullied suburban housewife Thelma Dickinson, and emotionally drained waitress Louise Sawyer sneak off on a sunny summer morning without saying goodbye. Unfortunately, the dream turned sour when a tipsy Thelma faces the appalling side of a forced romance that happens in a parking lot. Suddenly, a destructive murder charge enters the equation. As Mexico becomes the final destination of an ill-fated trip, Thelma and Louise head to absolute freedom in their teal 1966 Ford Thunderbird convertible. The idea for the film originated in the spring of 1988, when Callie Curry, then a music video producer, was driving home from work to her apartment in Santa Monica. She spent the following 6 months working on her first screenplay, which was noted to have drawn inspiration from her own experience, as well as her friendship with country music singer Pam Tillis. She had originally intended it to be a low-budget, independent film that would be directed by herself. After shopping the project around and finding no takers, a fellow video producer ran it past Ridley Scott and his production company. Once they turned the script over to them, they expressed great enthusiasm for the project. The film could have very easily starred Jodie Foster and Michelle Pfeiffer, or Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. Once Ridley Scott came on board as the initial producer, the title roles were set to be taken by Foster and Pfeiffer, but there happened to be delays in getting the project off the ground, and Foster wound up moving on to Silence of the Lambs. That's when another big-name duo was poised to play the two girls, Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. Streep would eventually leave the project due to scheduling conflicts, while Hawn was ultimately deemed the wrong actor for this role. All of this paved the way for the movie's eventual stars, Susan Sarandon and Geena Davis, to take over. Michelle Pfeiffer is the one that convinced Ridley Scott to direct the film. The screenwriter, as I said earlier, had intended to make the film on a really low budget and as an independent film. Things dramatically changed, though, when they got the interest from the major Hollywood filmmaker Ridley Scott. But in the beginning, he really just wanted to produce the film and spent quite a bit of time trying to find a suitable director. And he contacted quite a few, but they all turned him down. As a director, Scott hadn't had a hit movie for some time, yet he wasn't convinced he was right for this film. That was until Michelle Pfeiffer persuaded him otherwise. The actress was poised to play Louise at the time, and she asked the filmmaker during the audition process, "Why don't you come to your senses and direct this thing yourself?" So that's what ended up happening. When the movie hit the big screen, Brad Pitt had been working for several years doing bit parts, but hadn't had a big break at all yet. For this reason, he wasn't at the top for the choice of the role of J.D., which was originally given to William Baldwin. But Baldwin dropped out because of production delays. This gave Pitt a shot. Geena Davis herself was present at the audition for the new J.D., and when the producers and Scott were pondering which actor to cast, Davis flatly interjected, "You need to cast this one, Brad Pitt." And that's what they did. He was only paid $6,000 for his role in the movie. But this was a significant payday for the struggling actor, who at the time when he was cast had been making ends meet by dressing as a giant chicken for a Mexican restaurant in L.A. By the time the film was in development, Geena Davis was a major figure in Hollywood. Despite this, she was not at the top of the list for this movie, but she wasn't going to take that laying down. She was determined to get the film, so she had her agent call Ridley Scott almost weekly for an entire year. She just knew that she wanted to play one of the parts in the film, and she really didn't care which one it was. Finally, once Ridley Scott decided to direct the project, he agreed to consider her, although which part she would play was still up in the air. Geena Davis's acting coach encouraged her to pursue the role of Louise. And as a matter of fact, when she first met Ridley Scott, she had an hour's worth of notes that she was spilling to him on why she should play that character. And at the very end, he told her, "So what you're telling me is that you wouldn't play Thelma?" Davis told him that she was open to playing that role, but she still had her heart set on the Louise character. All of that until she found out that she'd be acting opposite Susan Sarandon. Now, Brad Pitt got pretty much overexcited when he was shooting his love scene with Geena Davis. Initially, Davis was the one that was really wary of shooting these intimate moments herself. She really considered using body doubles in those scenes. But as it turned out, it wasn't Davis who had trouble doing the scenes. It was Pitt. He had a little more difficulty in shooting that scene, particularly in the part where Davis sits on his lap. Pitt struggled to restrain himself and had a typical natural physical response to that scenario. It said that Geena Davis noticed it happening and felt it and gave him a smile and a wink, saying without talking that it was okay. Go back and watch this fantastic film from 1991. It's a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.